Hello, welcome to Lesson 2, Circuit Playground Express. In this first topic of Lesson 2, we'll be covering the parts of the Circuit Playground Express, as well as the basic code template and ways to access the various components on the Circuit Playground Express. So let's get to it. So Circuit Playground Express was made by Adafruit. So if you want to know anything about this particular device, you go to the Adafruit website. That should be your first source for information. So as you can see from this picture, there's a lot of things put onto this board. And the reason for that is that this board was made for educational purposes, to give people a way to kind of tinker around with different sensors, programming, make them into, no pun intended, makers, to actually give students a chance to innovate using a lot of stuff without the need of a lot of wiring or sophisticated manipulation of electronics. So just as quick perusal, we'll see here we have connection pads, which I like to call capacitive touches because you can actually touch them. These also serve as a secondary means of attaching external components to the Circuit Playground Express. Actually on board now, kind of bringing it in from the outside, we see we have neopixels. These are little lights that can produce various colors using a combination of RGB. Bringing it in a little further, we see we have a light sensor, can actually measure the amount of light in the room. Temperature sensor, right? No self-explanatory there, measures the temperature. We have a speaker, we have a microphone speaker. It's a really weak speaker. It's going to sound kind of tinny because it actually has a little piece of metal inside. But you know what? For everything that's on the board, it's pretty good. Microphone can sense sound levels, can sense frequency. It's not going to be able to differentiate between an A note or a C note, but it can determine how loud sound is in the room. Bring it in a little further. We have a left button, a right button. Those are neat. We could do a lot of stuff with that, as well as the slide switch here that kind of goes from left to right. Bringing it in even further, we have a IR, transmit and receive. This is cool because you can actually use your TV remote and aim it at the Circuit Playground and do stuff with it. This can receive and transmit, which means on the flip side, you can actually use your Circuit Playground to possibly control your TV. And then bringing it down to the very center, the last thing we have is a motion sensor. It can actually detect motion in the X, the Y, and the Z axis, which means you can tilt this Circuit Playground, which again opens up the possibilities to do some really cool projects with the Circuit Playground Express. All this put onto a very small board for about $25 for just the circuit board. That's pretty cool. A lot of stuff on here for you to tinker with and learn. So here's the Circuit Playground Express. The next part we're going to talk about is the basic code template. So we're going to go to Arduino. And as we reviewed in Lesson 1, we have to bring in this library. This library gives us a lot of functionality so we don't have to code down to a low level on the Circuit Playground Express. Not to say that you might not want to do that in the future. Again, this library was meant to help young programmers learn programming without the frustration of having to code down to a very low level on the Circuit Playground. But because of that, not all the functionality that you can do with the Circuit Playground are available. For stuff like that, you're going to have to get down into the weeds and actually code. But as a beginner, lessons, exploration, exposure to programming, this Circuit Playground library is awesome. So we bring in the library, which gives us a lot of code already made for us. And one of the first codes that we have to do is this Circuit Playground begin. A lot of things happen behind the scenes when you type this. This is something you're always going to want to do in the void setup, which, as you can see in the comment, it runs before you run anything else. And then we have our void loop. Right? So this is where you put your code to actually make things happen. Lastly, so we got to talk about what can we put here. Well, that's the purpose of this course. You're going to learn the various things, programming concepts, as well as interacting with Circuit Playground, and all that knowledge is going to get put here. So let me introduce to you a website that can help you at least know how to interact with these various sensors. And that's this website. I'll take it back one. So if you Google Adafruit Circuit Playground library reference, you get a website with all the basic commands that you can use to interact with the various components that we just talked about. So you can see here there's a command called left button for the left button, right button, so on. NeoPixels will be the first ones we play with, as well as, where's the speaker? There we go, Playtone. But if you ever need to know how to interact with one of the components, just go to this website. Again, it gives you a reference to the library. So let's go back to our presentation. So this was lesson 2, Circuit Playground Express, topic 1, which was the parts of the Circuit Playground Express, the basic code template, and means to access the components. Now, realize access components is something you're going to learn throughout future lessons. This was just a quick overview showing you, how you can actually have commands that interact with each component. All right. So look forward to the next lesson. Thank you.